friends, it's Laura with Laura B. Flosstube. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome or welcome back. I am so glad that you decided to spend part of your day with me. So let me just jump right in. I'm going to share some cross stitch, some quilting, some plans, and decisions. So we'll just jump right in with the cross stitch first. So last time, which was Flosstube 41, let me rewind here a little bit. This is Flosstube 42. It is October 11th, 2023, and I am coming to you from the lovely Columbia, Missouri. So with that, my cross stitch project for the past month and a half, I think, whenever Autumn Love was finished, I jumped right in on this one to finish it up, has been the Houses on Peppermint Lane by Pansy Patch Quilting and Stitchery. And I am stitching them as one piece. Ooh, look at this monstrosity. I do have 8 of the 9 houses done. I believe I was finishing the pomegranate house the last time we spoke, although it could have been the needleworker house, but I'll show you pomegranate just because. So there's pomegranate. Here is the needleworker house. Very happy with how it turned out, and not too many mistakes in that one, so that's kind of a plus. And now I am working on the final house for this stitch, and it's called the Christmas house. I really was hoping to have this done last weekend, but we've had so many fun things going on in our life that it just has not been possible for me to get as much stitching in as I normally do. But this is probably going to be done I'm going to hope by the end of this weekend. We have some things going on this weekend too, but I should have time to stitch tonight and possibly tomorrow night and maybe even Friday night. So hopefully between those 3 evenings, this will be finished up, and then I can press it and frame it and display it. So this is, it's the Houses on Peppermint Lane. So it is kind of a Christmas stitch. But you know what? I don't think I care, y'all. I think I'm going to have this framed, or I'm going to frame it myself actually, and display it year round. And let's just do a quick recap too. It's just so here's the peppermint house, the gingerbread house, the sugar cookie house, which hopefully you can see. You can see if you can see it. There it is. And then the second row, the tea house, cranberry house, and what is that one? Oh yeah, the pinwheel house. That pinwheel house, I tell you what, that roof was kind of fun to do actually. When I looked at it to begin with, I was like, whoof, that roof's going to be a nightmare. But it wasn't that bad. It's the same pattern over and over. So once you kind of got a rhythm going with it, it wasn't too bad. But I'm really happy with how the Christmas house is turning out. Working on the little snowman here. So there's a snowman, and then there's like a vase of flowers over here just to kind of tie the whole thing together with the flower theme. I really, really love Pansy Patch Stitchery or Quilting and Stitchery designs. They are super cute. I have the patterns for the Houses on Pumpkin Lane. And I do plan on doing that. I think that's going to be 2024 stitch for me. And I don't know if I'm going to stitch it as one piece or what I'm going to do with it, because these are pretty big once you get them all into one design. And, I'm doing it on 18 count, which I believe that's what's recommended. I'm not even sure. Let me see if I can sneak a peeky. Make sure I don't show anything I shouldn't. All right, let's see. So they stitched on 36, 1/2. So, they have the same size as what I'm going to end up with. But these are really quite large stitches if you can, let's see if we can, there we go. These are quite large stitches if you do that on 18 count with all 9 of them on one. But I'm not complaining because I love this stitch. It is so pretty, so pretty. The only thing I think I will change for the pumpkin houses, she has released her chart for the borders, and the border does add, quite a bit to it. So I think the border on my pumpkins, instead of, let me see if I can fold this just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Instead of doing all of these little doodads up and down and these little clip art, or I don't know what you want to call them, these little, like the trees and the snowflake here, those match like some of the bottom designs, right? So as you go along, you have the trees and the snowflakes on this end as well. And it's cute and I really like it. But I think that, you know, you could squish these together quite a bit if you just did a simple border, kind of like they did their divider. So I'm actually going to look at the Lori Holt stitch cards because all of her designs have borders, right? They all have like different types of little designs to go around those little bitty stitch cards designs. So I think I'm going to look at those and figure out the count across on the pumpkin houses and do something a little more simple. It might just be like a little checkerboard, or it might just be one row of X's with a little cornerstone, which is kind of a quilting term, but kind of like a little a cornerstone between the houses to make it kind of look like a quilt. But we'll see what happens with that. I am, you can tell, I'm sure I'm excited about getting this one done, and I'm excited about the idea of starting the pumpkin houses too. So yeah, and oh my gosh, I've started seeing the houses on Wisteria Lane. Oh, I mean, I don't, she's just torturing me because I can't stitch as fast as she's designing, and I just have fallen in love with all of their designs. Anyway, moving on, that is the only thing cross-stitchy that I have done. The only other thing cross-stitch related that I want to talk about for just a few minutes is what I'm doing next, because I know I talked about the pumpkin houses, but they're not, like, again, that's going to be 2024. I do want to start another big stitch because I have Autumn Love done and I'm going to have these houses done. I have my featherweight stitch going, and I probably do need to focus on it. I wish I would have picked a different fabric because I just don't like the what is it, Monaco? Yeah, the Monaco fabric. It's just so stiff, and I'm just not enjoying it very much. So I pulled out some charts to look at and decide what I want to do. Now, this one is not a big one, but I have this piece of cloth that looks like a canning jar, and I'm thinking I might be able to stitch that little picture. And I don't even put the pussy willows. Okay. I could probably stitch the pitcher and flowers into the canning jar, and that'd be kind of cute, right? I didn't pull the cloth out, so you just have to envision the cloth looks like a canning jar. It's like stamped on there, and then you're supposed to like stitch something inside of it, and I can't figure out what I'm going to do, but I think this would work. Or maybe even just some of these, but then add in more sprays just to fill up the jar a little bit. So that's one option. I might do the canning jar and just do these, and this would be like a quick stitch. And I might just do that like next, and then I'd have something quick and easy to do for a little bit before I start the next big one. So here's choice number one. Choice number one for my next big stitch is the Stitcher's Retreat House by Pansy Patch Quilting and Stitchery. They released this at the Needlework Market. And I love it. I mean, it's so cute. I love it so much. And I love the saying on there. So it might be this one. Maybe. Or it might be Quilter's Cottage by Lori Holt, which I love this. I have not made the quilt for this one, which is surprising, I guess. I don't know. This quilt I didn't love it as a quilt, but I love it as a stitch. So I might be doing Quilter's Cottage, or I might do Prim Village, which is also Lori Holt. And I did do the Prim quilt, not the Prim house quilt, but I like these. I do believe that I'd probably be getting myself into a situation where it's kind of a monotonous stitch because you're stitching all those houses and they're all the same. Now the blocks in between, oh yeah, all the little Yeah, all the little turn dashes in between there are all the same too. So that one, I don't know. Maybe I could do like one little house or something, maybe. That's kind of cute, actually, with just the one little border and a few little turn dashes underneath there. So maybe that's an option. I don't know if I want to actually stitch 12 of the same houses. I feel like I'd get bored with that. So that's going to go to the bottom of my pile over here. Or, now this is, again, this might be a little monotonous, but I really like this one. And I bought it and I wanted to do it and I haven't. So this is Support Group, which is also a Lori Holt design. This was part of the National Breast Cancer Foundation fundraiser that Fat Quarter Shop did last year in 2022. And I bought the pattern, but I didn't do the stitch or the quilt for that matter. So this is an option. These are, oh my gosh, I'm kind of embarrassed how many Lori Holt patterns I have here, but it is what it is. Here's another one, the You Are the Boss, and I really like this one. And this would be super cute in my sewing room. So that's a possibility. Then there's Prim and Proper, which is also a quilt that I have not made. I do have the pattern for it though, and I want to make it. I shied away from making it because those X's around the outside as the quilt looked like a lot of tedious work, and I didn't know if I was really up for that. But here's Prim and Proper, Lori Holt. I'm not really sure when this pattern came out. It might 2020, so it's been a few years. So I've had it in my pile for a while. And then my last choice, which might be the one to go with, is, let me see if I can find the picture of the cross stitch. Bonnie and Camille, the Shine On cross stitch sampler. I think I want to do that too. I just can't decide. So if you guys want to leave me a comment and tell me, what should I do? Which one of those do you think? And call them by name. Don't put a number on them because I didn't put them in order and that'd be terrible. So I don't know. I think my top choices are Bonnie and Camille's Shine On that I just showed you. Pansy Patch Stitch a Retreat House, which is a smaller stitch. It's 133 by 136, so it's not too big. It's like 7.5 inch square basically. So one of those, or the Prim and Proper. So Bonnie and Camille, Stitch a Retreat House, or Prim and Proper. I think that those three are the ones I'm most interested in doing. Like I said, except for, doing something small and putting this in the canning jar, which is a possibility as well. So I'll lay all those over the side. Who knows what happened there? Okay, so that's all the cross stitch stuff that I'm going to share. I have not, total honesty here, I have not looked on Moda's website today to see what the next block is for Blockheads 5, but I will share the first 4 weeks. This was the extra block they did. It's a signature block or a label block. If you put it on the back of your quilt, it would work for that. And then the star, which this was super fun. This was week 1, I believe. Could have been week 2. It was week 1. And then this one. And this one was the foundation paper piecing block. And that was the first time I'd done foundation paper piecing, so that was fun. And then this was last week's. And this is just a scrappy star block. So super excited about my progress on Blockheads 5. They're not on the design wall, and I will show you why in just a moment. I had them on the design wall, but then I needed more space. So they are just going to be in their little project box, and then when I get all 9 of them done, I will put them together into a quilt, I suppose. Although there is a longer Blockheads 5 coming up in the spring. I believe it actually starts in January, so I shouldn't say spring. And I think there's 30 blocks in that one, or maybe 20. I don't know. There's a bunch of blocks in that one. So I may just save these and put them all together. I know people do that. But I am making the 12-inch blocks, so it's a little bigger than normal. Yeah, so those are my blockheads. Then before I show you my progress on Hometown, I want to show you my haul. I went to Rooster Creek in New Bloomfield, Missouri a couple weekends ago. And Missouri right now is doing a all Missouri shop hop with their quilting shops. And we have 3 quilt shops here in Columbia, and I have not been to any of them to have my book stamped. Silly me. I mean, I've been to them, but I've been to one of them, but I haven't had my book stamped yet. But I did go to Rooster Creek, and they are having a special through the end of October. All of their Riley Blake fabric that is typically $8 a yard is marked down to $5 a yard. That does not include the Lori Holt Hometown collection because it's, I think, $9.50 a yard, which is still a really good price on Lori Holt fabric. But while I was there, I picked up the quilt seed patterns. So I'm doing the Hometown quilt, which is her applique sew-along right now, but then I have all the quilt seeds. So there's 9 of those. And I really have not been able to pick my favorite, but I believe this will be my next project after I get the Hometown applique quilt and the Blockheads 5 quilt done. I don't really have a pressing project on my agenda after that. I did see that she's doing a sew-along in January. I think it's like Mercantile or something like it's the Mercantile fabric line. The sew along is just like it's really cute. There's like classic blocks, but there's a little bit of applique because they're on circles, and they look really cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. If I do, I might do that out of my stash fabrics rather than buying a kit for that one, but we'll see. Yeah. All right, so let me swing you around and explain why Moda Blockheads got bumped off the design board. On the design board is Hometown, which is Lori Holt's current sew-along. It's with her Hometown fabric collection, and I did buy a kit for this from Fat Quarter Shop. I have gotten 8 of the blocks completed, which I believe is through the end of this week. Yeah. So I'm a little bit ahead, but that's good because I have lots of things going on. And then I also have the first 5 of the piece blocks done, and I'm doing all 4 of each design of the piece blocks when I do them. So I actually have, I guess, 20 of the 40 piece blocks done, and then 8 of the 12 applique blocks done. And I am, one thing that I like to do just to kind of help myself assemble the quilt is as I go along, I go ahead and put my sashing on the blocks. So you can see that like the top row, the bee house and the topiary house, those are sewn together and the sashing is sewed on. And so the only thing I need for the top row is that one block, and then that top row will be done because then the birdhouse also has both sides of the sashing on it. And then, so when I get that last block done, I'll just sew it in. And then, you know, again, going down the quilt, the second row, I'm missing 1 block. The third row, I'm missing the 2. So there are my 4 applique blocks that need to be completed. And then you'll also notice that the top row, well, all of the rows for the piece blocks, they also have their sashing attached and they're sewn on. So anything that is together that I can sew together, I do. And then as soon as I get a complete row done, I will go ahead and put the horizontal sashing on those rows. So if I do that top row final block, I'll just go ahead and sew that entire row together, put the sashing above and below it. And then when I get the piece blocks done, for that first row, well, all of them, then they will also just be sewn on to the bigger rows. So that's kind of a way that I kind of help myself, my future self, I guess, with preparation, and not preparation, but assembly of the quilt top, is I assemble everything that I can as I go. And then I don't have quite as much to do when all the blocks are done. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I am going to give you a sneak peek because people keep saying, oh my gosh, you know, your craft room looks so amazing and it's so tidy and pretty. And so I'm going to swing you around and show you my sewing table right now. I have the cute little featherweight, which you may see there on the corner, but here we go. So I have my sweet little featherweight out. I've been having some tension issues with my featherweight. So it's out because I've been troubleshooting and working my way through those to figure out what the heck is going on. I made some mini rail fence quilts, and let's see if I can, here we go. I made this mini rail fence, and I just cut out some 12-inch squares to go opposite of the mini rail fence blocks. This quilt is kind of crazy, guys, but it's a service quilt for the guild. When I got the mini rail fence quilts together, I was like, wow, that's a lot of patterns. So I decided to find something that I could break it up with a little bit, and that's why those 12-inch blocks of that great big bug print are in there. So, but yeah, this is my mess. Typically, this is clean because I am cutting here and measuring, but I'm using my featherweight and I didn't want to move my juki off, so I just put it over here and I've been kind of shifting things around as I need. So yeah, this is my mess. So don't think that my room is always clean. It's not, but it's I mean, I'll clean it up before I leave or shut down for the night or whatever. I don't leave it like this, but it definitely does get, used. So, all right. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys, this Flosstube. Just a little life update. I guess this is me justifying why I haven't done more, I guess. My husband and I have been in 2 car shows over the past 2 weekends, and we took first in our class in both of them, which is kind of a big deal. Super fun. And actually the one here in town was for Oktoberfest, and our cute little MGB represented the U.S. and Allies side of the face-off with the Germans for Oktoberfest, and we won. So we had a really cool plaque for that. And then in addition to that, we've been to a couple concerts. We've been out to dinner a few times. I've had 2 Quilt Guild meetings and a board meeting and class. So lots of things going on, keeping me busy, keeping me hopping. And I have been, I'm going to the gym like 5 days a week. So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym for about an hour and then come home, shower, dress, start my work day, and then do all my things in the evening. But life has been busy the last couple weeks. So that's why, I didn't meet my goal of getting Peppermint Lane done, but I'm close. So it's all good. And I have got quite a few little quilt tops done for the service projects for the guild. I think I've gotten 3 or 4 of those together. And I kept up with Hometown, which is truly an accomplishment on its own. So, yeah, and actually Hometown, I do have to give a shout out, my friend Pam. Hello, Pam. My next door neighbor and game night friend. I talked her into going to a Quilt Guild meeting with me, and she sat there and cut out all of my shapes for 2 of the blocks for block 7 and 8. So she cut all those out for me, and then I turned them and got them glued down the next day. So I told her she was hired because she did a great job. I'm trying to convince her to be a quilter, but it's just not working yet. I don't know. Baby steps. I think I've convinced her to start cutting like 5-inch squares out for me out of scrap fabric. So we might just start there and, you know, just one little step at a time. And before you know it, she's gonna be making her first quilt and she'll be like, oh my gosh. At least that's my dream. That's my dream, right? And I don't think that she shares my dream, and that's fine. I'm not gonna like really pressure her into it, but maybe. But all right. Okay, guys, thanks so much for joining me. I hope between now and the next time we see each other again that you have time to stitch. I do know that you guys want a tutorial on those little thimble pins that I made and I posted on Instagram. I do hope to have that together and done for you within the next week or so. So be watching for that. And yeah, so until next time, happy stitching.